Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Tuesday at 7:30 once again. So you know what that means by now. It's time for Tuesday live stream number, my God, 24, really? Wow. All right. So as I guess we wait for the room to fill up a little bit, you guys know how this works by now. I just go over my pickups from last week, starting with current reads. So we'll go ahead and just hop right in. But first, I want to say hi to a couple people in the chat. We got Comics Miss Explain. So toast. So just got water tonight because I got work real early. So there you go. Glad you can make it in the chat. And we also got Bake the Snake. He says, yo, how's it going? Glad Bake can make it. And then we got Brian Spaceboy 227. I'm glad he can make it because I finally got a package from Brian. I can't wait to show it. So, and then we got KomiKHAN Chad, hashtag Dare to Defy. Got to remember to put that in my hashtags this week. So, once again, I forgot. If you guys haven't caught it either on the CW, check out the Elseworlds crossover. It's been a lot of fun so far. So, definitely check that out. And we got Brett Hess Art in the chat. Once again, check out his Instagram. He's got a lot of cool paintings on there up for sale. He says, "What's going on? Cheers." So, once again, cheers, guys. So, I just got back into town. So, I'm ready to show some comics. So, first one I got, we'll start with Die number 1. I finally read this right before my live stream started. It wasn't too bad. I'll be completely honest. I'm not as thrilled as I was hoping to be with the art in this one. I know I'm going to get a little bit of flack for, you know, saying that Stephanie Hans's art's not the best, but I did have a little bit of trouble getting into this book at first. But actually, as the book progressed, it grew on me quite a bit. So basically, in this one, it starts off with a group of about 6 kids. They're just playing a new like role-playing dice game in 1991. So they're setting up, explaining the rules for about the first third of the book, and then they roll the die, and that's where everything goes haywire and crazy. So there's a 2-year jump like right after they throw the die, where apparently the kids were missing for 2 years. And then they're found on the next panel, minus one kid named, I believe, Solomon. And then they time jump 25 years later. So kind of think Stephen King's It, where the group of kids went through a traumatic trauma, and then you kind of get to see them as adults getting back together to kind of resolve this one more time. So at the end, they kind of come together once again. They decide to go, more or less save Solomon, see what's going on. So they roll the die. They go back in the fantasy realm. In my opinion, that's where the Hans art really picks up in this, is when they're in that fantasy realm. Maybe that was intentional. Maybe, I don't know. But I thought the art looked better once they got out of the real world and back into this mythical, crazy world. And then, obviously spoilers at this point. On the last panel, we find Solomon. He's got like a little bit of a blindfold on, but apparently he spent the last 25 years beating other like dice masters, and somehow he has 2 powerful dice in his eyeballs. So cool, striking last panel here. I'll definitely hang on to this for a minute, but yeah, like I said, a little rough around the edges in the art department, in my opinion, just because I know Stephanie Hans does some phenomenal covers, so I was kind of expecting a little bit more of that in the actual issue. But like I said, it really picked up toward the end and all that good stuff. So for right now, it's a recommend for me. Next up, don't have to worry about the art in this book. It's still like the most beautiful book on the shelves right now, in my opinion. You got Blackbird number 3. Sam Humphries, Jen Bartel is on the art here. And then, like I said, this series continues to pick up some steam for me. Issue 2, honestly, wasn't the greatest, but issue 3 picked it back up. A little bit of spoilers, I guess. Our main character, I believe her name is Nina, if I remember correctly. She spends time with this new warlock boy who's on the cover, kind of, saved her butt at the end of issue 2 and the beginning of issue 3. And, they kind of just have a lot of talk about, how to use magic gems and what the magic realm in this book consists of. And then it kind of, as they're kind of getting close together toward the end, the magical lion shows up that took the main character's sister in issue 1. However, this time the main character's mother, warlock / witch, shows up to save her daughter, and obviously the daughter starts crying because she's kind of overwhelmed emotionally. So once again, I think by the time they get to issue 5, this is going to be a really good series. So I'm going to keep hanging on to that one right now. Oh, whoops! I just dropped that title. Oh crap! Splash Page is here. Sorry, Splash Page. It's not damaged for good, but nonetheless, we got Uncanny X-Men number 4. I literally and figuratively have now dropped this title. Sorry, but anyway, this one just didn't do it for me, so I'm checking out of Uncanny X-Men after this. I thought the art was, not the best even in this. You got Beast. He's on his own mission for some reason, even though we have three branching out storylines in this book. We've got a fourth one with Beast. We now have X-Man, who is somehow tricked. I'm trying to think of the characters at this point. I think it's Omega Red, Magneto, Angel, and I can't remember the fourth character. But just all four of these. Actually, issue 3 wasn't too bad, but issues 1, 2, and 4, they just kind of depressed me after I read. So I'm like, I'm paying $4 to $8 for these things. I'm done. It's just not worth the misery. Someone gets issue 5 and it's good, I guess let me know. The only saving grace for me in this storyline is I'm kind of a big Jamie Madrox guy, especially I read like a lot of that Peter David X Factor around the mid 2000s and really liked Multiple Man in that. And I was happy to see, Multiple Man come back in his own series, followed up by this. And yeah, I can't buy this book anymore. It just annoys me so much. So I'm checking out of Uncanny. So hopefully we won't talk anymore about that unless it gets good again and I end up having to get a copy. Maybe my book of the week this last week, Prodigy #1, Mark Millar, Raphael Albuquerque. Sorry, Mark Millar he's swinging home runs this year. Like this book, such a great issue 1. If you guys hadn't checked this one out, get it while it's still on shelves because I think this one could be big one day. And I'm not saying go get it as a spec book, just get it as a really good read. But in this one, as you can see, our main character on the cover there, it kind of starts off, you see him as a kid develop into this, well, obviously a prodigy, if you will. That kind of means if he puts his mind to it, he can do it, basically. So the best first part of the book is he's in a soccer match, and he's really good because he's been practicing soccer, he's been studying, therefore he can do it. But the other kids on the team aren't a fan of him because he's too good, basically, and they want the playing time, obviously. So they gang up on him and beat him up, and he goes home, and his parents are concerned, and he's just like, I got this. So he turns on a bunch of Bruce Lee and Kung Fu movies, and that's how you kind of learn the fact that he can put his mind to it, he can do it. Later, you see such scenes as, his father kind of kicking him out, with $1 to his name is like, I'll turn this $1 into $1 billion by the end of the year, and he does it. So there's other parts where he gets dared by people to do things, and he's like, you know what? I can do that, and I have nothing to prove, but I'm going to do it anyway. So one person dares him to like jump the Grand Canyon on a motorcycle while on fire, and then get rid of the motorcycle mid-jump. He's like, yeah, sure, I can do that. Why not? And he does it. So a lot of fun, cool things going on. There's even like a little sci-fi twist toward the end of this with like alternate realities trying to invade Prodigy's reality because the other realities are kind of failing. And then they have to pick this reality as their new home. So basically, I think it's the CIA, basically some higher up, legal authority contacts them like, hey, we need your help figuring this out. And that's where this book 1 leaves off. And it's very good. So that easily my pick of the week this week. And there were some good reads this week too. So check out Prodigy if you guys missed that. My other kind of, I guess, Marvel / DC pick, Shazam #1. Very nice follow-up to the Justice League backup stories that Jeff Johns and Gary Frank did during the New 52 run. This is pretty much a direct sequel to that, so I was kind of happy. This was a very easy pickup and read for me, and probably easily the cover of the week. Gary Frank knocked it out of the park with the Shazam cover. But yeah, basically, the way Jeff Johns put it originally when he did the Justice League of New 52, he's just like, imagine like Goonies with superpowers, basically. So the group in this, they're basically like the Goonies, except Shazam has bestowed his power to other people, basically all the kids in his foster home, and shenanigans obviously are going to ensue from there. And now we're actually getting into the origin of the Wizard Shazam, and they kind of discover this transit station in the magical realm toward the very end. And there's also a really nice Mary Marvel backup story too, which I also recommend with some great art. So very good there. Next up, Venom #9. This one wasn't too bad. I mean, it continues to be a solid read every month, but this one fell a little off to me, but it's still not too bad. Basically, Eddie Brock and his new dog Venom basically just riding a train. Guy gets mad because the dog's taking a seat. Dog's Venom, and that's how our story starts off. So very interesting there. Then we start to explore, Eddie Brock's past. He goes home to see what's going on with his dad. His dad wants him out immediately because apparently he's already been there causing trouble. And then he finds out apparently he has a little kid brother that also wants the same father dead. So very interesting spot to leave off, but the Donny Cates continues to build a lot of momentum with this title. So absolutely enjoying Venom. Next up, I got Doomsday Clock on the stack. This is issue number 8. This a lot of people, they like to talk crap about Doomsday Clock. I've legitimately been enjoying like the last 4 or 5 issues of Doomsday Clock. I think 4 issues actually. I think it was issues 1 and 3 and maybe 4, if I remember right. Those are the ones I didn't like too much, but they've been at least consistently good the last 6 months. This one, basically, we finally get Superman, a lot of action from Metropolis, and we also get a little bit of Firestorm. If you guys have read this, you know what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, Superman kind of finally gets a little political in this book, and it does not end well. Batman's begging him not to pick a side in terms of, Russia versus Firestorm / U.S. And wow, this basically Manhattan intervenes at the end. You see some blue light. Batman, Superman, and Firestorm are swooped up in it. So we got to wait 2 months to see, Dr. Manhattan and Superman's first showdown. So as much as the Watchmen characters were lacking in it, I'm glad we finally got some Jeff Johns and Gary Frank written Superman, because they always do good work with Superman. And my last pickup last week that I got off the shelves was new, Green Lantern issue 2. This one, basically, we get Hal and another newer Green Lantern. Kind of looks like a Tomar Ray, except female. Basically, they're interrogating like this stuck-up teenager space person who resembles a tarantula. So Hal basically admits, he's like, I have no fear, but I don't like spiders. So kind of a fun moment there. We also get the return of Evil Star. I believe he's introduced in the Silver Age Green Lanterns, if I remember right, like Green Lantern 37 from the Silver Age, if I remember right. Basically, now we're bringing back Silver Age villains, but unfortunately, his luck in this book, he doesn't last that long. I guess he uses star power to not age, and then our new villain for the Green Lantern series basically sucks that energy out of him, and he rapidly ages, and we kind of just leave off there. But nonetheless, it's Grant Morrison. I'm going to be on board for several issues because I definitely trust Morrison and his long-term plans with books. So I will be staying on board with that. And other than that, that's what I picked up last week at my local shop. All right, let's see. Because you guys are blowing up the chat. I got to scroll way up to see who's in here. We've got All About Comics. He says, Ric Flair impression. So turn on the little headset real quick. Woo! Nice of you to join, JP. How's it going, man? We've got Brian Spaceboy 227 once again. That'll be your whole be next, Brian. I promise. The Splash Page Comics, like I said, he was in earlier, and I dropped my X-Men title. So sorry about that, Mr. White Gloves. He says eyes were closed. LOL. I'm glad to hear that. We got the amazing Murfinator in the house. He says he made it casually late. Hey, you're basically just in time, man. I'm just getting started. So glad to have Murph in the house. We got the Slab Dragon TJ Watson. He says hello, everyone. Sorry, I hope I'm not missing any crazy quotes here because I want to get back to the books, but there's a whole chat going here. We got B Lion Cat 646 says what's going on. I believe, I don't know if it's tonight. I think it's tomorrow night. He is having an auction on his channel, so definitely sub up Big Lion Cat 646 and get some good deals from him as well. We got the architect Sam's Tangled Web. How's it going, Sam? I guess we'll use this quick segue real quick. My YouTuber of the week down below is Jeffrey KomiKHAN Hensen. He had an awesome live stream with Bueller and Sam Tangleweb last week. It was one of the most fun live streams I've seen for a while. So check those guys out. They had an awesome Saturday stream. And then Sam and his knowledge, they killed it. So that was a lot of fun hearing how Sam and Bueller met in the comic shop. And it was like, yeah, I watched this guy Comics with Bueller. He's like, you mean that guy over there? So definitely check out. They got a lot of good stories on their channel. We got Wolf Blitz. He says the Warriors are having an auction tonight. Yeah, I believe the Warriors are having their auction 9 p.m. Eastern. I remember right. So that's why I didn't want to go past 8:30 tonight, because I know everyone's going to gear up for that big Warriors auction. And we also have a package from Wolf Blitz coming up, so definitely stay tuned for that. We've got Pope Grimy in the house. What's going on, Pope Grimy? He says that's sick. So glad you could be here, Pope. Now let's see. Scrolling down. There's my buddy Mike. What's going on, Mike? He says boo earns. So glad you could make it to the live stream, Mike. Hopefully I'm not boring you too much. we got two. Oh my God, we got two popes in the house. So we got Pope Cerebus the first. He says you won't miss those comics. I always miss my comics. So thanks for joining, popes. We also, speaking of, there he is, Comics with Bueller. What's going on, Comics with Bueller? We've got Discovery Bay Comics. He says, what's going on, everyone? Everyone sub up Discovery Bay Comics. He's looks like he's new to the chat, so I'll definitely be checking out his channel later down the line. And I know I missed a couple more. We have Fish Tropic, my first subscriber. What's going on, Fish? Glad you can make it. And last but not least, Liking the Covers, 4963. Glad all of you guys could make it. All right, on to the next haul. We have a really awesome deal from Brian Spaceboy 227. It's about a week and a half ago. He had an auction on his channel, and I got a heck of a deal from him. So definitely sub him up if you like good auctions and good deals. So it was a Thor lot. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Thor collector, but obviously you'll see the book I've been looking for. These are all nice books too, by the way. Very good quality. All came in Mylars too, so thanks, Brian. We've got The Mighty Thor, issue 185. So look at that beautiful book right there. Definitely happy to have some early Bronze Marvel in the collection. We also got 190, and so to die. So there we go. Looks like Hela and Thor are having a bad day thanks to Odin. We got issue 219. Like I said, I love me some Bronze Age Marvel. We got issue 229, 257. And here's the one that kind of made me pay attention to begin with. We've got The Mighty Thor 337, first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. And why not? Well, I'll give you one tonight. It's Newsstand. So there we go. I had my drink of water for that. So very happy to have the first Beta Ray Bill. Been looking for this one for a minute. So extremely happy to have that. So once again, big, huge thanks to Brian Spaceboy 227. If you guys see he goes live and has an auction on his channel, you will get some good deals. So definitely sub him up. Check out his stuff. All right. Next, I got a funny eBay lot. I say funny because the reason I purchased this, there's one book I wanted, and the seller forgot to put in the book. So I paid about $40-ish plus shipping for this one. And I'll let you guys try to guess the book I wanted out of this lot. So $40-ish. I'll show the books real quick. And they're mid-grade too, so a few of them are creased and bent. But overall, they're going to read and present pretty well. So I got New Teen Titans issue 3. So Return of Dr. Light and New Teen Titans. I believe also the first Fearsome 5. So read that on the DC Universe app, so I was happy with that. There's issue 4 where they end up feuding with the Justice League because basically Zatanna is not a big fan of Raven and her dad. So the Justice League fights the Teen Titans. Next up, issue 5. Can you guess the issue yet that's not in here? Issue 6, which I don't think I've read this one. I think I've read up to 5, if I remember right. So I'm trying. This is one of my, like, I must read this soon because I want to, because it's Wolfman and Perez. So I think C2E2 is going to be my, like, date I have this due by to try to get this all read so I can talk to George Perez about it. There's issue 9. And then issue number 10. I'm sorry, 11. My bad. So, yeah, pretty much Comics Misexplained was half right. He says, assuming first Nightwing or Deathstroke, yeah, issue 2 is supposed to be in the slot for $40. So he asked for my address again, and that's where we left off. So I'm hoping in the mail in a few days I see the first appearance of Deathstroke. I have no clue what to expect in terms of condition, because I'll just show you guys the wonderful bags these things were originally shipped in. Yeah, just nice, like pea yellow, awful, warped, terrible bags. This is why I go through my bags and boards so quick. Yeah, there we go. This is what the bags were originally shipped in. Oh yeah, and instead of using cardboard or packing peanuts, they use the Dollar Tree bag to ship these. So I feel lucky these aren't torn and destroyed. So once again, overall, quite happy with the condition I got for as low as I paid. As long as I get Teen Titans issue 2, I will be very happy. So yeah, absolutely awesome. All right, let's get back to the chat because you guys are blowing it up once again. Everyone's saying hi to Bueller. Yeah, check out Bueller's Bueller box. I got my Bueller box ordered a couple nights ago, so hopefully maybe by next week we'll have an unboxing of the Bueller box. I can't wait. So everyone's subbing each other up. That's great. I think I'm at 306 right now, so big thanks, guys, for getting me over 300 the last couple of weeks. Baked Snake says, my shop had some Teen Titans. Let me know what issues you're looking for. I'll keep an eye out. Yeah, I need to take inventory on what I need for Teen Titans, Swamp Thing, which you'll see coming up, and Uncanny X-Men, because I keep buying Uncanny X-Men doubles left and right. So eventually I'm going to have to join one of these auctions and get rid of a bunch of my Uncannies around the 2s and the 100s, upper 100s. Probably nothing before 150s a double for me, except for one item. We've got Comics Explains here. I always rebag and board. Yeah, I don't even know. I may have even gone through like 1,000 BCW bags and boards this year. Just one of my projects for this year for my collection. I just rebagged and boarded like everything I could because I really I've been collecting pretty hardcore since about 03. A lot of those bags are just destroyed at this point because none of them were in Mylars. Obviously, I was in college. I wasn't buying Mylars in college. So Pope Grammy says, oh yeah, those piss-colored bags. Did you smell those comics? Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't have that nice, vintage ball card smell. It was just, funk and trash. We've got, he also says, scratch and sniff Raven covers. Dude, Teen Titans. That's not good. Teen. Anyway, we got Beyond the Blast Doors joining the chat. He says, smash that thumbs up button. So thank you, David, from Beyond the Blast Doors. Go check out his channel. I believe they just crossed, if I remember right, 700 subs on their channel. He deserves double, triple, quintuple that. So check out Beyond the Blast Doors. If you guys like Star Wars at all, you owe it to yourself. You will definitely enjoy the content you see. You both said you were a teen once. All right, I'm going to get off this topic. Thanks, Grimy. He definitely puts the grimy in Pope Grimy. So there's my endorsement of Pope Grimy for the night. All right. So I've got to get into this next lot. This one is from Wolf Blitz. I got an email randomly a couple weeks ago. And he's just like, hey, man, you probably don't know me. My name's Wolf Blitz. I see you buy a lot of DC. I just came into a whole lot of comics. Let me know if there's anything you're looking for. I'm just like, curiosity got the best of me. I'm like, I usually collect Batman. I want Teen Titans. I want Swamp Thing. Those are Swamp Thing and Teen Titans are two things I want to go after in the next year or so. So he's just like, I don't have a Batman sword, but I'll look for Teen Titans and I'll look for Swamp Thing. So it didn't probably take him more today. He's like, I got this whole big list. Let me know if you want them. So we worked out a deal, and it was a really good deal, actually. He even put in some throw-in free books, too. So pretty solid deal. So let's go ahead and start with what he threw in. And actually, he technically said all these Teen Titans were throw-ins, too. So a very, very generous box he sent me here. So first one, this one was nice since I've got the Cyborg, or not Cyborg, sorry, the Starfire and the Raven one last week at a con. Now I have the Cyborg one to go with it. So this is Tales of the Teen Titans Volume 1 Cyborg of that mini-series where they kind of each had their one-shots. So thought that was really convenient and nice to have. He threw in a original run Teen Titans issue 36, I believe. So always glad to have these older Teen Titans in the collection because these ones I definitely do not see in the wild at all. So even though it's been loved, so that's to be expected. The book's this old, but very, very happy to have that nonetheless. I have no idea what this book is, but he knew I like Swamp Thing, so he threw it in. Roots of the Swamp Thing, Part 5 of 5, and it's got that nice reprint of a Wrightson cover. So thought that was cool. I'll have to flip this open and see exactly what that is a reprint of. I'm assuming Swamp Thing number 5, or maybe it was 9. I can't remember which cover that was off of. I'm sure someone in the chat could answer that one, but I think it was definitely that first run of Swamp Thing. We've got Legends number 1. This is actually the first appearance of Amanda Waller, and actually I just now noticed this really cool card. It's like an advertising card that came with it. So that's really cool. I like these like old freebies that shops offered originally. I just now noticed that. Cool. Nonetheless, he threw in the first appearance of Amanda Waller for free. So I thought that was really nice. Whoops. We got Doom Patrol #1. Eventually, this will become the Grant Morrison run. So happy to have that. That's another one. Probably after I'm done collecting these two runs, since I like Morrison stuff, I'm probably going to go after all the Doom Patrols next. I actually have a good chunk I got for like 15 cents a piece, but I was wanting to complete them and then read them after that. And then the last kind of throw them until we get to the Titans, we got Eclipso, the Face of Vengeance #1. So nice late 80s, early 90s era DC. Probably like one of my favorite times to actually read some DC stuff. So very happy with that. All right. So Wolf Blitz, he knew I was looking for Titans, and he kind of just asked like, "Hey man, I'll just throw the Titans in with your Swamp Things." I'm like, "Cool, I'm not going to stop you there." So definitely happy with this because I was going to get these no matter what, at least through dollar bins and stuff. But he's like, "I don't need them, so you can have them." So once again, thanks to Wolf Blitz, we've got New Teen Titans 22, awesome Brother Blood cover there. We've got issue 34. 45, which I think this one's like this, probably technically the second appearance of Nightwing-ish, somewhere around there. Because I think 44 was the first appearance, which I got up there. We've got Tales of the Teen Titans issue 48. I think this is, I can't remember if that's Titans Eastern. Like I said, I still need to read all of these. Another return of Dr. Light in issue 49. Really awesome, I think it's Eddie Beretta, if I remember right. A really cool Deathstroke cover there. We've got issue 55. Another awesome Beretta cover. We got the first Vigilante in New Teen Titans issue, or annual #2. We've got New Teen Titans issue 38. And then the last one is New Teen Titans issue 40. So sorry, those were out of order a little bit, but nonetheless. And how's that for a Brother Blood cover? That's awesome. So yeah, just looking at JP's little devil comments there. So there you go. Awesome. All right, so let's see what the chat has to say before we get into some Swamp Things here. Everyone's subbing up beyond the blast doors. Awesome. Pope C says he is rebagging all the books before 1985. Yeah, honestly, if it's like bronze or silver, for me anymore, I just automatically put it in the Mylar. So that way I never have to touch it again. I can just kind of admire it in the cover until I'm ready to read it one time. Wolf says he bought the collection off someone. Yeah, we need to convince Wolf Blitz to make some videos. If these are the books he's wanting to sell, I would absolutely want to see the books he's wanting to keep because they got to be some good stuff. I know he said he collects more Marvel than DC, but I'm guessing he got some good stuff in this deal because most of these books I'm showing from him, they're very fine to near mint, every single one of them. So he's sent a lot of nice things. So I could only imagine the stuff he didn't want to sell. It's got to be top notch. Let's see. We've got Rebel Gaming. What's going on, LP? He says, "Hey, Seawood, just want to wish you guys a happy holiday." So yeah, happy holidays to everybody, especially you, LP. Glad you could make it in and say happy holidays. Liking the covers, says excellent looking covers. And Wolf, show them Wolf. Yeah, listen to Lion Cat, Wolf. We need to see that collection you got. So, all right. So without further ado, he sent me all these Swamp Things. So I was grinning the whole time I was opening this box. So kind of just as like a nice little bonus to this deal, I guess. He also included the sale of Swamp Thing #5, so you get some like late rights in Swamp Thing here, I believe. So just an awesome cover there. I love getting these early bronze Swamp Things. Wouldn't mind eventually completing that, but I'm just going to try to focus on the Alan Moore stuff for right now. I am starting to pile those up a little bit, thank goodness, because I already have the first issue, and I think I got a beat-up copy of the third issue, and then I bought issue 6 last week, so I could easily complete the first 10. Also, I think this is a double for me, but it was in the lot, so figure why not throw in another one. So I got Swamp Thing issue 1, and it's got a couple spine ticks, but other than that, it's in really nice condition. All right, so the main ones I wanted was the Alan Moore stuff. So fortunately, he had the very first Alan Moore, which I do still need to read this. I went ahead and read 21 since it was in the DC app to read. This one wasn't for some reason, so I got to read this sooner than later. But an absolute like near mint, maybe getting graded by me copy of Saga of Swamp Thing issue 20. And like I said, this thing is dang near perfect. I couldn't be happier with the copy of this. So issue 20. I actually did read this one before I went to bed last night. Once again, it's got a color breaking tick or two, but nothing too major. Issue 21, and especially since it's like an all black side, it's still a very nice copy. But this issue is so awesome. I'm so happy I got this run. I read this. And basically, you know, just to kind of spoil the story of this one a little bit, you've got the Floronic Man. He's commissioned to do an autopsy on Swamp Thing by like this gazillionaire who you kind of see on the cover there. I don't know if I even name. I think they keep calling him like the old man or something like that in this issue. But nonetheless, the Floronic Man, he does the autopsy, and you kind of learn the origin of the Swamp Thing in this book. As you guys probably know by now, Swamp Thing is technically not Alec Holland. It's like somehow the forest absorbed all of Alec Holland's like memories and consciousness. So the actual Alec Holland is dead, and in its place is basically Swamp Thing, if that makes sense, in a crazy Almore way. So Floronic Man presents this proposal to the guy who's paying for everything, and he just does not like the reasoning the Floronic Man has come up with. So basically, the Floronic Man he takes Swamp Thing out of the freezer basically and leaves him out because all this time Swamp Thing's frozen. That's how they have him, able to do an autopsy because they're pulling out all these organs that do nothing basically. He has a heart. Obviously he's a vegetable. He doesn't need a beating heart. So he just kills this guy because, or at least we think we do. He might be alive by 22. I'm not sure. I haven't read that far yet. But nonetheless, we get this. They basically just establish he's just this crazy beast who's not sure of his identity from here on out. So very good Almore storytelling right there. But wait, there's more. We've got issue 22. And I still need to rebag a lot of these. I put those first few in Mylars because I was admiring them, I guess. Issue 23. We get some cool Abigail Arcane cover goodness there. Get some issue 24. Apparently, the Justice League is just watching these two fight with the chainsaw, which is always sweet. So shout out to Phantasm 2. Love me some chainsaw fights. We got issue number 25, which I believe this is the cameo appearance of John Constantine. And just a really awesome cover to boot. So I did put this one in Mylar because I really like the cover. So enjoyed that. 26. And like I said, these are all very, very minty. 27. We've got issue number 28. Awesome cover right there. Like I said, these are all, and I don't see these around too much. I don't know if you guys have better luck than me finding these in like, just even convention bins, let alone like dollar bins and cheap bins. But I never see Swamp Thing in bins at all. So there's issue 30, 31. We got 32. And then this is where it starts to get a little bit run breaking. 34. Cool cover there. Make a new stack because we're sliding all over the place. 36. So unfortunately, the odd number ones in the 30s kind of disappeared. Got number 38. So yeah, unfortunately, 37 wasn't part of the deal, which hey, it was all right. But would have been nice to have that 37. I'm sure. That's the first Constantine. If you guys don't know, 39. Issue number 40. 41. And if you guys have actually read this run, let me know what you guys think of it for sure. Because like I said, I mean, everyone loves Alan Moore and that stuff, but I feel like not a lot of people don't talk about a Swamp Thing run. So we got 45. Love me some Crisis. There's issue 46. Look at that team right there. It's like a great legend team. You got Phantom Stranger, Swamp Thing, Hawkman, and then Batman leading the charge there. 47. 48. And then we got a 49, which I believe this is the cameo of Justice League Dark, if I remember right. And an awesome cover to boot. I actually saw this in like a $5 bin today, too. I almost thought of picking up a second copy. And then he was nice enough to throw in a very minty copy of issue 50, which is credited as the first appearance of Justice League Dark officially. So this is, yeah, I might get that one graded as well. We got issue 51. Looks like Abby's having a bad day. 58. So this is where, you know, kind of, these are the ones I'm going to eventually have to fill in, obviously, toward the later ones. 59. And then the last one, we've got an annual number 2, which we got the Demon Etrigan, Spectre, and Phantom Stranger. So, yeah, I can't wait to read these. These later ones even look great. So, once again, big thanks to Wolf Blitz. Absolutely amazing lot he sent me. So, couldn't be happier with it. All right, let's see. I missed a lot of people here in the chat. I got to scroll back up. We got Jason Smith in the chat. What is going on, Jason? So we got to say hi to Jason real quick, like usual. There we go. All right, we got Tacoma Comics in the chat. He said something gross, I guess, so I got to scroll up. He said, I agree with everything that has been said. Good choice, Tacoma. You did great. So you guys always pick it on poor Tacoma. We got Silver Age Dave in the chat. He says, hi, CW, and everyone just saying hi, needing a run. So for 2 weeks in a row, people are listening to me while running. So I definitely won't be doing that for any of you guys out there. I will listen, but I probably won't be running at the same time. So big shout out to Silver Age Dave. Hopefully one day he'll get a chance to make a video or two again. But until then, take care of yourself, Dave. We love having you in the chat at the very least. Brett says, yeah, chainsaw action. And JP is talking about the exorcism of Pope Grimy, which the Comics and Cold One team might need to look into exorcisms. That'd be an interesting Thursday night, I'm sure. Tacoma says, hey, everyone in the chatable. Seawood seems really happy right now. Well, I guess it's an okay day. I had the day off. That's probably why. Work hasn't beat me down. That's for the rest of the week to do. Pope C says, Swamp Thing is the shit. I agree. Sometimes literally come up the Swamp Thing. We got Who Dat Comics and Movies in the chat. What is going on, Who Dat? Also joining us, we've got the Gray Man. What is going on, Gray Man? And Prowler 671. I think I missed him earlier, but there he is. Also, King of Instagram, Stay Puff 1983. What is going on? So everyone keeps subbing each other up. Before I get into tonight's main topic, I have more books to show. So I went visit my parents. When I visited my parents, I had a couple antique shops, and I had some good finds this week. So we'll save that one for a second. So I had found a new antique shop, and one of the booths had $2 comics. Come on, focus. There we go. I had a bunch of stuff for $2 a piece. So for this stuff, I couldn't pass it up. So all this for $2 a piece. We've got Batman 277. I always shout the Meteor. We got this cool like DC salutes the bicentennial banner that they had in 76. So very cool mid bronze Batman there. I was surprised this one was $2. This is Walking Dead 171. I didn't read Walking Dead in this era, so I can't remember the name of this character, but I believe that's her first appearance, if I'm not mistaken. So I figured, why not? It was the only Walking Dead in the whole bin. And for $2, you buy these type of Walking Dead key issues, so happy with that. Swamp Thing number 14. So like I said, I'm still filling out Swamp Things. $2. I wasn't going to leave this laying in there. I like these older Swamp Things, especially with that bigger banner on it. I believe this is the first appearance. I could be completely wrong, but I think this is the first appearance of like this version of Doom Patrol. And they're also kind of being used in the TV show Titans right now. So once again, $2. Don't leave that laying. And I believe everything else I found was X-Men. So I'm going to do a quick sort or two. There we go. We've got X-Men 152. So once again, trying to fill out this run too. Just kind of like that. I'd love to say 94 to 300, but I still need to find 94, 95, and 100 and 101 and so on and so forth. But I got a lot of the 120s and up. So trying to fill in some holes there. So there's 152. We got 155, and Colossus is having a real bad day. So nonetheless, very cool work there. And this one, Xavier's having a bad day, issue 167. Does that Walking Dead have a pink signature? So a signature check real quick, why don't we? No, it does not. So not the variant. We've got Uncanny 178. So cool John Romita Jr. cover there. Always like me some early 80s Romita. JP says Xavier looks crippled. Great observation. We've got issue 206, which I might already have a copy of this, but $2. Figure it was a nice copy. I might have actually showed this one last week because I was like, oh, there's Rogue Skunkhead. I like, wait a minute, didn't I make that joke last week? Oh crap! That probably means I had this book last week. So probably a double or a triple for me at this point. We will see. We've got X-Men 207 with just an awesome Wolverine cover. I know I didn't have this one. Funny thing is, I actually saw this at my next visit, but it was more expensive there. So glad I got it for $2. And then the last one, I'll peel this off so you can see the face. We've got X-Men 267 for $2. I believe this is the second appearance of Gambit. So I figured, why not? $2. Unfortunately, they didn't have the first appearance for $2 because why would they? So that was antique shop number 1. So like I always say, don't sleep on your antique shops. You always find good stuff in there. Before I get into haul number 2, once again, we got to go back in the chat because you guys are blowing it up. We've got Ruben Neves. He says, what's going on? Glad you can make it, Ruben. We've got the boy who had 7 Talks comic books. I always got to shout out him because he gave me the first Nightwing as a part of his contest. So boy who had 7, you're probably one of the main reasons I'm collecting all these Titans books right now. So definitely happy to see him in the chat. And everyone's just saying hi to each other. So I'll get into haul number 2. So I call this, I guess, the honey hole antique store I've been going to. This is my 3rd trip to this antique shop. And once again, this guy did not disappoint. I can tell he updates his inventory every single week. So every time, because it hasn't been that long since I paid this guy a visit at this antique shop. Because originally I wanted to go back to the shop because, you know, the comic person, I mean, like, I got to get that first appearance of Shang-Chi he had for like $30 before anyone tries to buy it otherwise. So I figured $30 would be a decent price for, you know, Masters of Kung Fu 15. So I go back. He already had it sitting out in his glass case for $60, which, hey, you can't blame the guy. It is what it is. So, but I did find some really good stuff. I got these first 2 for $5, and then this whole stack here was $3. And then I found me a key book on top of it. So I'll start with the 2 $5 because I thought they're really neat. I don't buy a lot of modern stuff from this guy, but when this guy has modern stuff in his bins, it's very reasonably priced. So I got Vision number 1. Apparently, it's supposed to be a really good Tom King run. I got this for $1 over cover, so I paid $5 for a Vision number 1. So I hear like this and Mr. Miracle are his 2 best works. So I definitely, when I saw this for $5, I knew I had to swipe that up. And then I don't know why this was $5, but I was just like, I already have the variant cover like right behind that box up there. And then this cover I actually traded to Jeremy Edwards for another comic book because I know he really wanted this. So when I saw an opportunity to get this cover back for $5, I'm like, yeah, why not? So we got Batman 655, the first Damian Wayne, $5. So I figured, why not? Definitely a no-brainer at that price, in my opinion. There's a couple spine ticks on the side, but nothing too egregious. Probably like 3 or 4 total, but still, nonetheless, very happy to get this book back for cheap. All right, so for the $3 bronze stuff, we've got Superman in Action Comics 404. So I thought that was a really nice, you know, for the time minty, I guess. As you can see, it's a giant size. The staple, well, that one's not too lined up, but the top one is. There's no staple bleeding. Usually in these Action Comics from this time, I get a lot of staple bleeding. So happy I didn't. We've got Wonder Woman 272. Just thought that was a really nice Cockrum cover right there. I'm slowly starting to get into the older Wonder Woman stuff because every time I see it, I'm like, man, that just looks really awesome. And this comes with a Huntress backup story. So definitely excited to crack that open and see what that's like. Got a nice looking horror book. We got The Unexpected, issue 120. So these are ones, if I see them $3 or less, I'm picking them up. I just love these older, like 70s horror covers. Once, you know, DC and Marvel were kind of allowed to print horror books after the code kind of just stopped caring. I definitely enjoy getting these and flipping through them. There's usually some really nice stories inside. Next up, it's a little dirty, but it's nothing too bad. We got Superman 251, just another 52 pager from, I believe, the 70s. So very nice copy of that. I had to think of the great legend when I got this book. $3, Plastic Man issue 4. I got that nice little domino top on that everybody likes, but that was a really funny cover. So I was like, I don't see Plastic Man's hardly ever around, so definitely had to check that out. I don't know anything about Alien Worlds, but I just saw this was a pretty cool Frank Bruner cover painted from 1983. So I got Alien Worlds number 6. So if you guys know me and my collecting style this year, if I see Frank Bruner stuff, I've been buying it because ever since I bought his Doctor Strange stuff, I've been hooked on his art. So thought that was a really nice cover there. So there you go, guys. Cheers. And then the last one, the key book. You guys remember from Wolf Blitz's run, I went in looking for Shang-Chi 15, and actually the guy also had a Phantom Stranger number 1 in his case. Last time I was kind of thinking about getting this time, but fortunately one was marked up, the other was sold out. But this one I put on my 2019 want list, and now I'm obviously going to take it off because I got the first appearance of Constantine. So I did pay a few bucks for this one. Unfortunately, this was not the cheapest book in the world. It actually cost me several bucks, but hey, I think I'll just say it's $40. I think $40 for this book is pretty well worth it. It sells for a lot more than that online. And I know this one, in terms of completing the Swamp Thing run, this is going to be my biggest hurdle since I already had, the early 20s, the Justice League Dark stuff, and most half the 30s. So extremely happy to get this for an affordable price. There's only really a little bit of a color breaking bin there. And just a little bit, it looks like there's color breaking something, but it looks like it might have been like pressed or something already. But nonetheless, other than that, it's a really nice looking book. So heavy, I just wanted, because it was part of the Swamp Thing run, it was just kind of like a bonus, I guess, that the first Constantine was in this run. So, but like I said, I am glad to have got past that hurdle that is this. That way, everything else I'm going to collect in this run should be pretty easy and cheap to get, hopefully. So that's all my pickups this week. So let's see. We've got 13 minutes to go so I can get into my actual topic. But I do want to visit the chat once more. We've got John's Comics with Kids. He says, hey there, sorry I'm late. No worries, man. John's Comics with Kids has been killing on a lot of live streaming stuff lately, too. So check out his channel. He has a stream he does of Whitewell Comics, which is always very awesome and informative. I believe they have one tomorrow night where they basically pick one book a week and do like an in-depth review of it. And then he just has a live stream with his kids, which is pretty nice, too. Let's see what else. Bake says, nice Swamp Thing. Thank you. Tacoma says, I love 2 comics at the shop I wanted. Hey, sometimes you only live once, man. Sometimes you got to pick those books up. I don't even know what Pope's talking about. Something about rubber necking, goose necking. I don't know. I guess my neck's weird. Who knows? Maybe. Anyway, I did, as you guys tell by the topic, I just got to find where I did. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I got stacks of books everywhere. My last topic, I just quickly wanted to cover a few of my favorite reads for this entire year. Last week, I kind of went over my best pickups of the year. A lot of those came from the community and more things, books like this, basically, that I just got for cheap, from these community auctions and that type of stuff. But I didn't really highlight what I actually enjoyed reading, and I wanted to do that tonight. So I picked, let's see, I think 4 Image. Sorry, now I'm sorting out again because I had books everywhere. I think 3 Image, 3 Marvel, and 2 DC. Because I gotta admit, like I was really having it, because when I was driving my hour home, I was just like, I really don't know if I can pick like my favorite DC book, because there just weren't tons that like long running DC books that did it for me this year. They had a decent Batman run, then 50 just went off the rails and ruined everything there. So, but nonetheless, since I got like 12 minutes to go through this entire stack, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. We've got Fantastic Four issue 3. So Dan Slott has absolutely been killing it in Fantastic Four, albeit it's a little bit slower pace than I'd like. But that specific issue of number 3 was really good. This is what us Fantastic Four fans have been waiting for in this issue. We get like every member ever of the Fantastic Four fighting one big bad. We get a lot of comedy and family hijinks ensuing. Dan Slott really has a great voice for the characters of Fantastic Four, so I'm really looking forward to what he's going to do with them in 2019. But I think this issue has been the standout in the run so far. So absolutely a top 10 read for me this year, or top 9. I guess I didn't even pick a 10th one because I ran out of time. Next up, I got Shanghai Red. I picked issue 5. Also, honestly, I'd pick like the entire trade at this point. I don't know if it's collected in a trade yet or will be in the next couple of months. But if and when that thing comes out, definitely swoop that up if you want just a nice solid image read. I believe this is the last issue, so issue 5. That's all it is. So they might even have them at your local shops. I highly recommend it. But just an awesome, old Western type time revenge thriller where a woman gets shanghaied, and she basically changes her identity completely to fit in with there's a group of pirates, and eventually she makes her move against all the people on the boat. She frees the slaves of the boat, and then she decides to get revenge on everybody who's responsible for her being shanghaied. Probably my top image read of the year. I absolutely enjoyed that. My 2 DC picks. Number 1, I just went ahead and picked Justice League. The first run of this from Scott Snyder, I thought was some really solid stuff. Just the fact that he took that just classic dynamic of the Justice League versus the Legion of Doom, and the Legion of Doom, they just came out swinging in like the first 5 or 6 issues. I really, maybe it was 8 issues actually, I think that ran. So like the first 8 issues of this were pretty solid. The Aquaman stuff afterwards, I was kind of just checked out after that. But the first run of this, if you just like, kind of the 70s Super Friends style, evolved into today's standards, I recommend the first run of Justice League, which I'm guessing based on the way they reprint now, hopefully you'll see that hardcover with the first 8 to 10 issues in it. That's the one I would absolutely recommend. Once again, a lot of people have been dogging Doomsday Clock. So I had to put this in my top reads of the year, though, because honestly, I think the 2017 Doomsday Clocks, they didn't do it for me, but it seems like this year the story has really picked up a lot of steam for me. Specifically this issue, you get the origin of Marionette and Mime, and I believe this is also the one where you get all those crazy Joker shenanigans, and the Riddler gets his kneecap shot out, and just a lot of crazy things in the DC universe start to go south quick in Doomsday Clock. So absolutely, this has probably been the standout issue for me. But since about issue 5, I think 5 to 8, Jeff Johns has really picked it up a lot in Doomsday Clock, in my opinion. And the Gary Frank art is amazing too. But we're focusing on reads. I love me some Jeff Johns, as you guys all know. And Mike, if you're still watching, I'm sorry I picked Doomsday Clock because I know you hate this one too. But I still like it. I'm sorry. Next up, we got Venom. Donny Cates has completely redefined what a Venom title can be. This specific issue, this is where like Null kicks off and all that stuff, and we get like the God symbiotes and the whole background and history of what a symbiote is. See, now I'm doing it. Thanks, Sony. I actually call it a symbiote. How did that movie be so successful? But anyway, the comic has been really good this year, and Donny Cates has absolutely just killed it on this title. Like I said earlier, it's a very good quality read, so you can't lose picking up Venom right now. Got Amazing Spider-Man 801. This was Dan Slott's swan song on the title. So really the Red Goblin stuff didn't do too much for me. It was a decent story, but considering it was Dan Slott's last big arc, I feel like it could have been a little bit more. But luckily they gave him kind of one more issue just to kind of, put his thoughts on Spidey into perspective one more time. So you kind of get like an outside perspective of, who Spider-Man is. It's just like starts off like a little kid and his uncle. And the little kid he does not like Spider-Man for some reason. And the uncle pretty much spends the whole comic book explaining why Spider-Man's important. It's kind of like that scene in Infinity War where, or maybe it was Civil War even, where Tony Stark, he's talking to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's just like, why do you want me on your team? And he's just basically like, well, someone's got to look out for the little guy. And this issue does kind of a really good job reiterating that. So very, very awesome final issue from Dan Slott on Spider-Man. And then the last 3 image ones I picked, we got Isola. This is issue 1. I think this is actually the C2E2 variant I picked out. But just a really cool, very nice art inside this one too. But just a cool story. Fantasy realm, a princess. Actually, I'm sorry, a queen gets turned into this tiger you see on the cover, and it's this person's job to protect that tiger. And as the story goes, you kind of find out it might be this person's fault that the queen's a tiger and the king is dead. So I actually want to reread this again so I remember people's names and stuff, because they're on kind of a hiatus right now till I think February, as some image books will do, so they can kind of maintain that quality of art and storytelling. But Isola, when it was up and running, it was very good, so hopefully they make a speedy comeback. I think this one concludes this week, but nonetheless, the first 4 issues of Magic Order have been very good. Like I said earlier in the stream, Mark Millar has been swinging home runs this year. Along with Prodigy, Magic Order has been just the other part of that 1-2 punch that Mark Millar's delivered this year. So in this one, you basically just get these like superpower magical beings that they're just wreaking havoc and evil, and they're making their move to try to take over the realm of magic. And it's up to this like, disassembled, broken family to be our only line of defense against this crazy magic realm that is just all powerful and almost godlike. So we're really interested to see how this family is going to take out the other magicians in issue 5. If they do, you never know. They probably just all get wiped out. Who knows? And last one, got to shout out maybe my overall book of the year, just / guilty pleasure. I don't know, but I love me some Ice Cream Man. Ice Cream Man has constantly been one of my favorite reads every single time I've read it. I picked issue 6 to show off the night. This one, just Ice Cream Man, he's like your crypt keeper, except he actually does the torturing himself. And this one, he picks this dude and basically has him live 3 lives that are all just depressing and terrible. One's like a David Lynch movie the guy's stuck in. It's really messed up. The other one, he just loses a pet at the end of the pet's life. And then the other one was like, I think there's like a kid, like the guy gets in a couple, they have a kid, something happens to the kid. So nonetheless, like Ice Cream Man, he redefines torture and everything. But as of late in the book, there's like an antagonist to the Ice Cream Man. So I'm really curious to see what direction this book is going. Of course, all the directions this book has gone to so far have been just all sideways. So really looking forward to seeing how this book further develops. So nonetheless, it's just an insane, fun read. I enjoy it every time I flip it open. So other than that, we're about at 1 hour, guys. We'll go into some final shout outs here. Then we'll sign off since we're about that 1 hour point. Let's see. Boy at 7, I'm going to jump back into it since you picked it. I think he was talking about Titans, jumping back into that. And then Stay Puff says, I've been in and out of Doomsday Clock throughout the year, but it's definitely picked up after issue 5. Comics Miss Explain agrees. Doomsday Clock's been good. John's Comics with Good says, my only Venom worry is that he's moving into Eddie Brock stuff. No, I'm not looking forward to the side things. Hopefully he still keeps it worthy for the first 8 issues. Yeah, I could see him breaking off for probably maybe 2 more issues into the Eddie Brock stuff, especially since, apparently Eddie Brock has a kid brother now. They're definitely going to have to address that. And I hope he doesn't become a symbiote creature person. I don't care. We've done that enough. We don't need that. We had Red Goblin. We don't need a Black Goblin or something like that. So we don't need that. So, but yeah, I kind of agree, John. Hopefully it gets back to the God symbiote type storyline. And the whole thing with Ultimate Reed Richards too. That was, I like seeing that character back as well. Comic 6 Explained says Ice Solo looks very pretty and he loves Magic Order. And Pope C says Prodigy was excellent. And yeah, everyone's just kind of signing off with me as well. So like I said, we got tons of auctions coming up. I've got a plug. We've got the New York Warriors in about half an hour tonight. We've got, I think Big Lion Cat said he's having one tomorrow night. And then we've got the auction, the end all auctions this Saturday and Sunday on the Great Legends channel. So Edwin from Strictly Comics has put together, a Heroes Initiative donation auction. So everything's going to start at 99 cents. I have a few slabs I showed off behind me last week. So I think they're still there. So once again, I'll just show them off to plug the auction. So we've got these 3 slabs. They'll be starting at 1 lot at 99 cents on that auction. So it goes to the Hero Initiative. So I want to make a decent donation to that because I love the Hero Initiative. And they've, not only have they given me some cool sketches over the years, they give back to a lot of the creators out there too. So I think it's very important to keep supporting causes like that in the comic community. So that'll be this Saturday and Sunday night. It's a 2-night auction. We also have Comic Core this Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. So you definitely got to tune in because you never know what's going to happen on the Comic Core. You literally never know what's going to happen. So it's always fun and great. Who is there behind you? C. Woodard 19. Uh-oh. That's not good. Unless you're talking about Selena over here. I'm just going to assume it's Catwoman. So there we go. We'll sign off with some beautiful Catwoman. Love me some Michelle Pfeiffer. Other than that, Sting is, oh crap. Sting is coming from the rafters. He's up there. We got, oh man, here comes Lex.